An earthquake just shook the nation of Japan to its core. And no, I'm not talking about a geological one. A once-in-a-lifetime political tsunami just literally wiped out what was left of Japan's left-wing parties and politicians. And in their place stands the single most nationalist, conservative government since World War II. The three largest economies in the world are now all officially nationalist and civilizationalist, fulfilling the legacy media's worst nightmare. The nationalist populist revolution isn't just an American phenomenon, it's global. And even more importantly, it's unstoppable. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your patron professor, celebrating yet another day, a glorious day in Trump's golden age that you made possible back in November 2024. So if you want a front row seat on how you continue to change the world in ways you never even imagined, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. If you've been with this channel for some time now, you'll know this woman, Sanae Takaichi. Back in October, Takaichi became Japan's first female prime minister. She's been called Japan's Iron Lady. She's considered an ultra-conservative. She's a staunch advocate for the traditional family. She radically opposes LGBT and same-sex marriage. She wants to preserve the male-only imperial succession. And the big one, she is a staunch advocate for stricter immigration policies at precisely the moment liberal globalists insist Japan needs more foreign workers. Now, that left-wing opposition largely stood in the way of Takaichi's policies. When she first took office in October, she inherited an absolute mess. Her predecessor resigned in disgrace after more or less decimating the LDP, which is their conservative party. They lost their majority in both chambers. The LDP's coalition with its longtime partner Komeito had also collapsed, and Takaichi formed a new fragile coalition with the Japan Innovation Party. But even with that new partner, she only held a razor-thin majority in the lower house. Leftist opposition parties were blocking her agenda, hammering her over controversial remarks she made about Taiwan and China. And so after being in office for literally only weeks, with her approval rating skyrocketing to over 75%, she took a gamble. Takaichi used the Japanese prime minister's constitutional power to dissolve the lower house of parliament, which automatically triggers a new general election. She brought the issues that she trumpeted directly to the voters. Japan must say no to mass immigration and yes to Japan First principles. Japan must say no to woke liberal values and yes to traditional Shinto and Buddhist ethics. Japan must say no to the liberal globalist left and say yes to national sovereignty and protecting a distinctively Japanese culture. And yesterday, while we were all gearing up for the Super Bowl, Takaichi didn't just win an election. She obliterated the opposition. Her party, the LDP, needed 233 seats to recapture the majority. They won nearly 100 seats more than that. 316 out of 465 seats in Japan's lower house of parliament, a two-thirds supermajority. The first time any party has ever achieved that in Japan since the end of World War II. Together with her coalition partner, Japan's Innovation Party, her bloc now holds 352 seats. The main opposition, the so-called Centrist Reform Alliance, was annihilated, collapsing from 172 seats to now just 49, forcing both of its leaders to resign in disgrace. The Japanese Communist Party was cut down to just 4 seats, and a left-wing populist party went from 8 seats to now merely 1. It was an electoral tsunami, again, a political earthquake that we see once in decades. The supermajority now gives her the power to override the upper house and even alter their national constitution, something no Japanese leader has been positioned to do in decades. In short, Takaichi bet her entire premiership on her personal popularity, and she won the biggest mandate in modern Japanese history. President Trump was ecstatic after the results came in. He took to Truth Social and congratulated her on, quote, landslide victory and wished her great success in advancing your conservative peace through strength agenda. Trump is a huge fan of Takaichi, as she is of him. She posted in response, I am sincerely grateful to President Donald J. Trump for his warm words. I look forward to visiting the White House this spring and to continuing our work together to further strengthen the Japan-U.S. alliance. Our alliance and friendship with the United States of America are built on deep trust and close, strong cooperation. The potential of our alliance is limitless. Let us work together to ensure that our alliance continues to bring peace and prosperity to our two nations and beyond. And here's the part that should make every conservative in America smile. She did it on a platform that sounds like it came straight out of a MAGA rally. Wait until you see this. I mean, while Canada's economy is stalled, America's literally going through an economic golden age. The stock market is absolutely booming under Trump. It just ended shy of, 16% last year. Last week, the S&P 500 surged to 7,000 points for the first time in its history. Gas prices are at their lowest in 5 years. Mortgage rates are under 6%. Inflation is under control. And last year, we collected over $230 billion from tariffs, helping slash our trade deficit in half, which means there's a massive opportunity to profit from the growth of American companies, and not just for Albertans, but you got to know what you're doing, and you have to know what's really going on, and ignore the legacy media's lying narrative of doom and gloom and the like. Their fear-mongering is deliberately trying to prevent you from taking advantage of all the actual growth we're seeing under Trump. I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to know the truth about what's happening, which is why I am so excited to announce that our good friend Mark Wilburn of Neos Capital is hosting a private live event just for our listeners called the Golden Age Summit. It's on Thursday, February 11th and Saturday, February 14th. Mark is a stock market expert. He's committed patriot and someone who has a knack for just demystifying the market so everyday Americans can profit from it. Plus, he'll help you make sense about what's really going on. I know he's done that for me, so you know how to profit from it. Now, I've been through Mark's trainings myself, and I can assure you they are top-notch. Mark hosted a few of these events last year during Trump's first year in office, and he showed our listeners how to profit during the golden age. And some of the stories we heard were absolutely mind-blowing. People like Bert, who after attending one of these events, went on to make nearly $25,000 on a $70,000 account in just 6 weeks. I mean, it just shows the type of opportunities that exist right now in this new era we're in. So if you're looking for ways to benefit from this booming Trump economy, then click the link below or go to goldenagetraining.com to reserve your spot. Mark charges thousands of dollars for this training, but he's agreed to open up registration for absolutely free for all our listeners because he wants to support patriots like you. We're living in America's golden age, and it is time to take bold moves to build the legacy we want for our families. Go to goldenagetraining.com right now to reserve your spot. Again, it's live, and it happens online on February 12th and 14th. Click on that link below right now. Takaichi ran on defending national sovereignty, strengthening the military, cracking down on immigration, preserving traditional family values, and cutting taxes. She pushed Japan's defense budget to 2% of the GDP, making it the world's third largest military spender, because she understands that China isn't going to wait around while democracies debate pronouns. She tightened rules on permanent residency and naturalization. She opposes same-sex marriage. She supports the imperial family's male-only succession. She's pushing anti-espionage legislation to root out foreign influence operations. And when asked about Taiwan, she did not mince words. She suggested that a Chinese blockade could trigger a Japanese military response, a statement so bold it sent shockwaves through Beijing. The decimated opposition calls her dangerous. The legacy media calls her a hardliner. The Japanese people, however, call her their prime minister, with the biggest mandate in 80 years. Now, here's where this story gets even better. Before the election, President Trump took to Truth Social and gave Takaichi his complete and total endorsement, calling her a strong, powerful, and wise leader who has a genuine love for her nation. This is what conservative leadership looks like on the world stage. Sovereign nations led by strong leaders building alliances based on mutual respect and shared strength, not guilt trips and climate lectures. It turns out Trump endorsements work even overseas. But the even bigger picture is this. Japan obviously isn't alone. In Italy, Giorgia Meloni continues to govern on a platform of national pride and controlled immigration. She has the highest approval rating of any prime minister on the continent. In Czechia, Andrej Babiš stormed back to power in October on a strong Czechia platform, wearing red baseball caps and running against EU overreach. In our hemisphere, Costa Rica just elected conservative populist Laura Fernandez in a landslide. Even in Thailand, the ruling Conservative Party there just topped their elections this past weekend as well. The pattern is unmistakable. From Tokyo to Rome, from Prague to San Jose, voters are choosing sovereignty over globalism, strength over apology, and tradition over ideology. The legacy keeps trying to convince their dwindling audience that this nationalist populist movement is fringe. But it's winning everywhere. Sanae Takaichi just proves something that the American left refuses to understand. When you give voters a real choice between leaders who love their country and leaders who are embarrassed by it, patriotism wins every time, in every language, and on every continent. The conservative revolution isn't just alive. From Washington to Tokyo, it's winning the world.